time I look at you, you pull me back into.
When your heart is racing at the speed of light, and you feel like you got nowhere else to go. No, I'll hold you till the sun comes in the morning light. Yeah, I'll keep you safe, I'll never let you go. When your heart is racing at the speed of light. When your heart is racing at the speed of light. Yeah, I'll keep you safe. Yeah, I'll keep you safe, I'll never let you go. When your heart is racing at the speed of light.
Welcome to the beach in Lanzarote. We're here at CFC this morning for the first round, the 9 o'clock game after a fairly heavy party last night. I'm Amelia Durbin, joined in the booth by Benji Reese. Good morning, Benji.
What do you mean fairly heavy party last night?
There was some drinking. Oh, I can hear myself. Some drinking.
There was some good times had. Rocked it out at the silent disco. Now ready to get underway with day two.
We do, as we see an immediate deep shot go up by last minute in the white. Well received by the receiver down there on the front of the end zone, takes the dish back. And a beautiful bid required, but just bounced out the hand there.
It looked like maybe she had a bit more time and she could have chased it down, but on the sand you really do lose those steps quickly, and felt like she had to go for the bid early to make sure she should secure it, and it pinged off the hand, and La ROJITA will get a chance at an early break here.
Yes, this La ROJITA side, we saw them yesterday on the stream, made up of a group of the U24 Spanish players who will be representing Spain at the World U24 Championships later in 2025.
Yes, I don't know how your Spanish is, but ROJITA means little red.
I like that. As we see La ROJITA off to the races. Really impressed by their lateral movement yesterday. Got an isolation in the middle and takes it. A bit of a piece on that, does the last-minute defender, fakes the IO. Needing a reset option. It's found in the middle of the field. A little bit of give and go between the field matching players. Back to the handler in the centre of the pitch. Goes to ground, that's a goal and a break. First point for La ROJITA. It's 1-0 here.
Asked a lot of them on the inside shot, but Julio Vidal can be a real live wire, both defensively and with the disc. I saw him sky Jakob Tam yesterday, and Jakob Tam looked like he'd been hit with the Tyson haymaker, like he had no idea what had happened.
Yeah, that was also on the stream yesterday if you wanted to go back and check it up. But yeah, this La ROJITA side kind of making an impression early. They had a slow start against the Fresh Lobster side and then kind of were really able to bring it back later in the game, with Fresh Lobster eventually taking the win. But a really good game, especially early on at this tournament. We're doing a Swiss draw here at CFC. This is the 4th round of Swiss. After the 5th round, it then goes into bracket play. So every point matters here out on the sand. Trying to make sure you get as favourable points in the almighty algorithm as possible.
All hail to the almighty algorithm.
As we see La ROJITA with the pull, soaring down the middle of the pitch in this beautiful morning sun here. And right on the tails of the last minute defence. Long shot goes up, it's caught. Continuation is there, streaking deep, no bid required, just like a whip it on the sand. A goal and an all-important hold for last minute.
The Dane Stefan Van, what speed across the sand. He was lightning, like he'd been shot out of a cannon.
Indeed, and just looking at the rankings based off the recent rounds.
Yes, it is 17th in the Swiss draw ranking for La Rojita and 18th for last minute. So the teams probably, you think, qualifying for that top 8 might be out of reach, but if you put together 2 really strong victories this morning, then it's still within the realms of possibility, especially if those teams in the top 8 have bad days.
That is why the Swiss draw kind of feels a little bit more favourable at tournaments where you're not really sure who the standout teams are going to be. At tournaments like Euros and, you know, a national tournament, the seeding idea and going through pool play makes sense. But here, no one really knows what these teams are going to be like until they're out here on the sand. Quite a few pickup teams here having fun together at this wonderful, wonderful tournament.
I mean, it is a destination tournament. It's a sort of tournament where you find a way to go there. So maybe you're playing with players you're not so familiar with. You know, maybe you've got a core group that you really look to be like, we're targeting this every year, and we'll recruit and develop everyone around it so we can come. Because why wouldn't you want to come? I mean, it is glorious today.
You're absolutely right. It's much, much nicer weather than it was yesterday. We had some strange weather, some strange winds, some strange storm drains exploding, but that's a story for another time.
Yeah, that was less than ideal.
But the weather today is exactly why we all came here. But La Rojita on their offensive campaign coming to a quick end with a deep strike going up and not being able to be received.
I mean, this is a very aggressive shot. Sending it from the far sideline over towards this near sideline, you've got to try and get that inside-out swaz on the disc, because if you don't, you'll see what will happen there, and it just continues to run away, and the receiver's tracking all the way across the field and can't get there.
Another immediate deep strike goes up. What a fantastic grab there. Dishing off immediately, but just unable to keep a hold of it. Too much heat on the throw. La Rojita then off to the races on offense, finding a release valve to the center of the field. La Rojita doing a really good job of releasing the disc on a round stall 4, but the last minute defense working really well. High one goes up, peeled defender off the back. Last minute then. Gonna need some fancy footwork, not quite. Spinning on the mark, little dishy one over the top. Beautiful IO throw, can they get there? Yes, they can. No bid required, just the outstretched hands. That is a goal for last minute.
Yeah, a break puts them back on top and back on serve. Well, I say back on top. It is actually their first lead of the game. But this is, you feel like, oh, is this quite an exaggerated shot? Again, it's relatively flat. There's not necessarily the IO shape that would curve it off back into the receiver's path. But in the end, didn't really need to be.
Absolutely, a really good showing. I believe La Rojita are probably going to be feeling ever so slightly frustrated with themselves. Their options are really good, but we were mentioning yesterday when they were on the stream, there's quite a lot of young blood, and as much as they necessarily have the kind of movement and the spacing, the execution is just sometimes not there. But early on in the game, lots of Frisbee to be played. I don't think they'll be down and out just yet.
No, you're right. It's, 3 games a day is, on the sand, nothing to be sniffed at.
No. You're absolutely right.
I mean, you would know, having just come off the World Beach Ultimate Club Championships, of course, with Mighty Hucks.
I did. I played on the women's division, Mighty Hucks, with three teams there over in Portimao. It was such a fantastic week. Loved every second of it. And, yeah, beach is pretty punishing. However, I also played last year in Huntington Beach at the World National Championships, represented GB. And the beach in LA made your legs more tired than Portimao. Interesting.
What do you think that is? Like heavier sand? How does it churn through?
Deeper. Deeper.
Interesting.
I think the Portimao sand wasn't as deep, whereas in LA it got to the point where you would run and there was, up to your ankle.
It really was like running through treacle.
Yeah, running through sand. La Rojita then on offense. Last minute doing tight handle defense. Able to break 3 of that kind of clampy look. Last minute really on the shoulder of La Rojita, pushing them under now. High release over the top. Last minute defense working really hard. La Rojita kind of having to move a little bit differently to how we know that they like to play. We saw them do a lot of throw and go yesterday. And just an unfortunate error there, just a drop. bit of lack of concentration, perhaps?
Especially on the sand, you can lay out for that with the clap catch as well. It's close enough and not have to be so far out in front that you have to try and snatch a fingertip. And I'd probably favour that option here.
Agree. There's a lot more security layouts on the sand, but La ROJITA to get the disc back. Down the line strike goes. It's caught. There's the goal for La ROJITA, a much-needed score for them in this early stage of this game.
When you start with a disc at or near a sideline, there's a couple of options you can do. Option one is just to keep cramming it down the fore side and say, we're going to beat you to this cone and grind you into the sand. And the other option is to say, okay, well, that's fine. We don't want to be here anyway. We'll try and break, get it off the line into a more central position. And if we can, we'll hit the continuation swing off that. That's exactly what La ROJITA did there.
Yeah, fantastic work from them. Score 2-2, just 10 minutes on the clock. We're here for 45 minutes at these games.
Yes, slightly different cap rules in that if you're not within 2 when you finish the point where the cap goes, then the game is immediately over, just to keep things, keep the rounds ticking through. Otherwise, yeah, if you are within 2, you play a standard cap +1.
I think that's a good way of getting a game to finish, specifically maybe on beach where the points can be quite long-winded. A comeback from a big deficit, not always as possible as it is on grass.
Yeah, they tend to be, points either tend to be real quick or a real slogfest.
Last minute then on offense. Spinning on the mark, La ROJITA's defense doing a good job of stopping their lateral swings, but they're off to the races now, pushing downfield nicely. The disc is high. And a turnover. La ROJITA with their break chance now. Star jumping on the mark is the last minute defender. A bid on the shoulder. There's the line. Super speedy there from the female matching player. There's the line strike. Doesn't want it, takes an aggressive backward option. Aya through the middle. There's the bid on the back shoulder, but great hands. La ROJITA looking a little bit static, trying to find an isolation. Pops one over. That's a goal. La ROJITA with the break.
That's the other option. Okay, we're on the fore sideline. Can we get it off? They had one good opportunity where they had an aggressive up line cut. The force came round, adjusted. It was a really good recognition to say, okay, that's fine. Now we've got this around break into the centre. They didn't have the continuation, so they worked again, just really zipping it into that open side space. And in the end, that is Julio Vidal who beats his man to the spot for the score.
It's interesting to see on beach a lot of people forcing under. I think that's what last minute we're doing. They're kind of pushing their player kind of towards the disc. I feel like on sand, sometimes forcing them deep and just kind of anticipating tired legs or an overthrow, potentially a little bit more worthwhile.
It's interesting because on beach, I think maybe more so than grass, if you can force an O-line to really have to work hard to get the score, you know, you really do tire them out. It feels like that pays dividends, maybe not in the moment, but in the back end of the game when those legs are a lot more tired. The one thing you don't want to do is give teams quick points.
And speaking of quick points, last minute could be about to have one, but thrown it away. The frustration on the player's face there is clear, and understandably, a beautiful deep strike with a perfectly weighted throw, but just couldn't get it good in the end zone. Yeah,
very surprised that Kappelman and Immersi weren't able to connect on that one.
La ROJITA then with their opportunity to get some breaks, but a little peel off the back, but lets go of his defender, and his defender then goes and gets it. La ROJITA put a big throw up into the space, but it's just released too early, and that just sails into the sand.
Some really good passages of play for La ROJITA, but it's putting it together throughout a full possession.
Yeah, I think it's just like young minds, young legs, kind of. They've got the right options. They're just not necessarily executing on them. Last minute, then taking their time, getting the disc in flow, walking up to the white tape on this beautiful volcanic sand.
Isn't it gorgeous?
I do like it. It's quite. I said yes. It's quite moody. Quite moody sand. Last minute. There's another big throw. Can they get there over the head? Just lost sight of it and then kind of couldn't track it.
Yeah, looking for the veteran Jan Tenga, and I think veteran kind of only half does it justice. His official age, as listed on the roster, is very old.
Now, depending on who you ask, depends on the answer there.
That is true. I mean, when I started playing over a decade ago, Jan Tenga was, a key part of those fab sides that won back-to-back UCFs.
Oh, fantastic grab there by the young Spaniard. La ROJITA looking calm and patient here. Just need to find the release valve. Doesn't want to take it. Throws a dish one over the top, and that's a goal for La ROJITA. A break themselves there.
Beautiful deep shot. Superbly tracked down there by Castro. I mean, she really had to go some. But you'd love to see that commitment from a young player as well. Just
Absolutely.
19 years old. Because
just 19.
yes,
Fantastic.
they are warming up for the World Under-24 Championships next summer in Logroño here in Spain. But I say here in Spain, it's still quite a way away from the Canary Islands.
It is still quite a way. I don't think I've been to the Canary Islands before, so when I looked on a map at its location, I was like, oh,
Really?
goodness.
Yeah. You're like, okay, that doesn't feel like Spain, but
Well,
sure.
much to my disappointment when Connor said to me on the plane that it was a 4-hour flight,
Yes.
I was devastated.
Yeah, if you're not expecting it, it catches you off guard.
Yeah, by an hour and a half, I had cabin fever, and I was like, I would like to leave.
See, I fell asleep pretty much the second I sat down on the plane, so I had no idea that we were getting in late until I woke up, and they were like, scheduled arrival time is now about 2 o'clock, and I'm like, what? But we boarded nice and early, so we must have left on time, right? No.
That's impressive. I had to try and force myself to sleep on the plane, but didn't succeed, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was not a good quality sleep.
No. But a sleep's a sleep.
So wise.
Hoping all of these players managed to get a good night's sleep last night. I would say it was fairly tame for a party last night.
Hey, we've still got the main party tonight and then our winners' party tomorrow.
Oh. Come fighting under the disc, but really good hands there by last minute. Throws this kind of... Oh, and the composure. But not enough composure. A turnover. La ROJITA with another opportunity to get a break on the board.
A heater that was too hot to handle, and despite the second effort attempt, it is a La ROJITA disc.
after a much-needed last-minute goal. 6-3 now. About 20 minutes gone in this match. We're seeing the pull drift out of bounds here on the sand. The pulling, I would say, has been less than admirable. We've had far too many bricked pulls as far as I'm concerned. And considering it's not that windy here, I think it is just a lapse of concentration perhaps for those players. La ROJITA showing some fantastic offense on the sand. Just really good at moving the disc nice and quickly on stall 4 or 5. Good isolation from the front of the stack there. La ROJITA continue, and that's a goal for La ROJITA, and what a way to do it too. Seven, 3.
La ROJITA, I think after probably a little bit of a tough day yesterday, it's good to see them bounce back. It's exactly what you want to see from a young side that maybe rides the emotional waves a bit more than some other teams do. Have a look at their previous results.
Yeah, as we said, this La ROJITA side are coming out and training for a grass tournament next year. It'd be interesting to hear your thoughts, Benji, on training as a grass team on sand together. Obviously, this isn't their full squad. What are your kind of thoughts on taking players, maybe not necessarily all of them, and bringing them to a different surface to get reps?
I think just getting any reps you can as a young team is good. Yes, it's not ideal, but also when you're based in the Canary Islands, there's not necessarily a huge amount of grass options available to you, so you kind of have to take what's there, and any excuse to play at CFC is not really a bad one.
That's true. I have heard on the old Frisbee rumour mill that U24 Worlds there will not be any grass pitches.
Oh, it's all artificial turf.
Rumour says, apparently.
Interesting.
Which then my nerdy intel, Conor McHale, then said that he thinks it will be the first ever World Championships, which is deemed to be grass, to not
without
be played
any
on
actual
grass.
natural grass. Yeah, I think it would be.
And AstroTurf or 3G definitely does change the way the game is played. The kind of uplifting draft from that black rubber crumb creates a kind of heat pocket, which I feel makes the discs fly higher, faster, softer. I think it's easier to play on 3G than it is grass, but that's just me. But less about grass, more about the sand. La ROJITA then. Beautiful kind of leading flick. That is a lovely weighted throw. Showing some real class, this Spanish side now. Last minute defense doing a good job of kind of applying pressure, but La ROJITA just always have an option on their beats. Now they're a bit stuck, throws one up, peels off, and what a goal. That is really nice from La ROJITA. Just as I was saying, they were stuck. They had a release valve. They've always got a backup plan. Yeah, they've got something cooking today. If you look at their results from yesterday, they started with a 12-7 victory. 13-7 loss to Fresh Lobster, who are themselves a very good side, so no shame in that. And then 11-10 win on Universe over Woodies, and then finished out the day with, in the positives by racking up a 12-4 win over Helsinki. So after a slightly tough first game, they have been able to build up a head of steam, which is something that you love to see. Absolutely. Helsinki is a Finland side, correct? Helsinki is in Finland? It is the capital city of Finland. Interesting to see Helsinki lose 12-4 when at the Great Grand Masters Beach Ultimate Club Championships in Portimao after Beach Worlds, Finland were in the final. Yes, this is slightly different from WGGM but UCC though. It is, but there was me thinking, Helsinki might be a fantastic side. But it's just interesting when I saw Helsinki on this schedule, I assumed it was going to be the Masters team. And I was excited because they were fantastic. I mean, it might be, I guess, but yes, this tournament, maybe you can cut loose a little bit more than you would at a World Championships. I say as if WGGM BUCC is not already, a little bit loose. A foul being called there, and some really good kind of body awareness from the two female matching players there. One bid and then one pulled out of their bid to avoid any nasty body contact, and that's what we like to see, just being a little bit more heads up before throwing yourself head first in the sand. But a foul on the mark, I believe. as the disc is going back.
Yeah, if this is accepted, it'll come back in on stalling 1.
Is accepted, which means it's coming in on 3 according to their rule book. But last minute, finding a swing towards our commentary booth. Now looking and trying to engage the handler, but manages to get it down the line. Another down the line throw. They're really kind of playing in the small spaces, but that's a beautiful slicing backhand break to take more space on that far sideline. A very important goal for last minute. It's a high one, and it just isn't been able to caught in both the initial catch and in the bobble afterwards. La ROJITA with another opportunity.
The deep game, which can be so prodigious for the Swiss, is just not really fired today.
Do we know much about this Swiss side? I'm seeing a lot of fab shorts, both on the female matching player side and the male matching player side.
Yes, there's a decent contingent based in the Swiss capital, in Bern.
Fantastic.
Yes, Steph off mic near the Wankdorf Stadium, home of young boys and young boys women. We were there for the invite last year and had a very nice time as well.
It was. Is that the one with the big bunker?
Yes. We mercifully were not staying in the bunker.
Deep strike goes up from last minute, but there's a stoppage on the field. Disc is going to get sent back, I believe, and sent back in the wrong direction. Still coming in on 1. Last minute immediately taking the swing option. Cuts laterally and then gets stuck on this near sideline again, just really playing in the small spaces. A slap on the thighs. And I do not think that is going to work. And it didn't. It did come back in bounds though, which means that it will be taken from that bottom end of the pitch. La ROJITA then walking decisively up to the line, throws a high one and just not able to get there. Last minute, really wanting to be putting this goal in. Good defensive pressure. Really impressive marks. And there's the bid from the young Spaniard. Not able to get there and last minute put in a goal. That takes us to 8-4.
Boy, did they need that. Because 9-3 you feel like is game over, especially with the way the cap rules work. But 8-4, you know, with a little bit of space, then you feel like, actually, you know what, we do have time to eat away at this deficit. Whereas 6 points in however long we've got left, 15 minutes, does feel a bit extreme. See a cruise ship sailing across the Atlantic in the distance.
You know the weather is better today because there's just simply more traffic in the area. We've seen a car going along the sand. You can see a cruise ship over there, a couple of sailboats, some nice tourists walking along by. People are having a great time out in the sun, and I am thrilled because yesterday I was less than thrilled. La ROJITA walking up to the line, putting their foot on the tape. Last minute to pull. Get to see some really nice offense from this La ROJITA side. Be interesting to see what one they choose here. They're very, very good to move the disc early in the stall and have a backup plan or a release valve if the first option doesn't come off.
I think hydration is going to be key today, Derbs, because it is scorching.
Absolutely, and if we are assuming that a comfortable 65% of these players had more than one beer yesterday, hydration is key. Because you will be dehydrated simply from playing, but also through your evening activities.
Beer's liquid, I don't know what the problem is.
Beer is apparently a fantastic isotonic drink after you've exercised.
It is.
There's a very interesting Radio 4 documentary for those who like Radio 4. I'd really recommend listening to it about the benefits of beer and 0% beer. It's not all bad.
Oh, huge hand block.
I couldn't see that, but I heard it. Last minute, deep strike is there, not able to get it. Close defense from La ROJITA. Good patience from this last minute side. They're going to need to have an option now. Slicing cut. There's the 7 cut. It's a high one. Is it going to be able to K in bounds? It's not. And the slap of the floor from the last minute player. Just frustrated with that. Threw away a very much important opportunity.
Should have been a score.
Should have been a score.
Should have been a score, and I think he knows it as well. But leaning back, the body balance, the body weight's not quite in the proper position. And he shows too much of the underside, and he just airmails the throw, and they can harmlessly watch it sail out the back of the end zone.
I think with those 7 cuts, they are so punishing if your thrower can get it right. But if your thrower cannot get it right, the disc goes in such an awkward position for basically anyone to get to that it's a turnover most of the time. La ROJITA then, beautiful faking and throws. Really impressed by their movement. You hear last minute calling for a flat force to stop the huck, but it doesn't stop it. But back on offense, another deep strike, but just over the head of all the receivers, and a turnover is being called by his teammates.
Yeah, I was going to say, it does feel like a turnover's coming, doesn't it? A turnover, a timeout, maybe.
Agreed. You see it again here, a great block from last minute. Really putting the body to work, but there, just an immediate throwaway after that great interception. It's 8-4, we've got about 12 minutes to go. As we mentioned, if the game is more than within 2, it will end after the last point, and if not, they can fight it out to take it to Universe. In a Swiss draw, I believe that draws are allowed. So hopefully they'll try and bring this game back closer. Bid required, but can't get there.
So draws are normally allowed, but with the cap rules, of course, you wouldn't have them.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
Too many beers yesterday for me.
Is there such a thing? Yes, there is.
Should ask Steph. Mr. Rapazzo is not in a good way today.
I've seen him worse, to be fair, but that's not necessarily saying much.
Last minute, just really struggling to connect. That was a beautiful throw, but just too high.
You've got to have some of these. La ROJITA have shown something today that, has let you know that you can't give them too many freebies, and they have given them those freebies in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think La ROJITA showing a real level of class here. Last minute, just kind of struggling to adjust. I feel like the reason why they're putting up those deep shots is because they're struggling to get the unders, and that's a testament to the La ROJITA kind of close defensive, right on the shoulder, stopping all those open throws. See, La ROJITA working quite hard to not necessarily gain a lot of ground, but that is the gainer you want on a beach. In 3 passes, they've taken it further than halfway down the field. Bit of a weird catch from Spain there, but able to keep it in the hands. Really tight defense from the last minute defense now. They've got a lot in the legs, but just not able to get their throws. A high one, a backhand, and that's a goal for La ROJITA. This game looking a little bit one-sided now.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure it's last minute now, but as much as last second, because they are really running out of time.
Yeah, it's funny at tournaments like this and CFC and other kind of party tournaments such as Windmill, not necessarily the top third of Windmill, but maybe the bottom third. Deciding at what point do you say, we've lost, let's just try and enjoy ourselves now, or do you change the tactics and kind of keep pushing and keep trying to make changes to try and win a game? It sort of depends on what each team wants to do. I'm sensing from last minute they've got a lot left in them, but not necessarily seeing any tactical changes from them as of yet.
I mean, they've had a number of clear scoring shots that they've just not been able to complete, and that has really undone them.
Agreed. Sometimes it just is as simple as, the team that can throw and catch better, which sounds awfully basic, but it's true. Frisbee is a skill where you throw and catch, and if you can throw and catch better than the team, chances are you're going to win. Ideally, you throw into the end zone and catch in the end zone. La ROJITA a hand up on the pull, ready to put up a big, big backhand pull. Will it stay in bounds? It will. It will sit lovely, hanging nicely, giving the La ROJITA side plenty of time to get up there and set their defense. Last minute, going to be really needing to put this in, but a foul call downfield. Foul being called on the field, and quite a long discussion. We have no whistles here, but I would say it's definitely been over 45.
Yeah, I saw the signal for a contest, so it's going to stay here with Yannick Happelmann.
Last minute showing a little bit more energy. There it is. That's the much needed goal for this side. 9-5 now.
You've got 7 minutes left till that cap comes on, so you could feasibly get within that 2-point margin that you need to make sure that the game goes into a cap.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that now would probably be a good time for a timeout from the Spanish side. They've got a lead. They've had not loads, but maybe some scrappier points than they ideally want. Call a little timeout now, have a little refocus and a reset.
Time to take a little breather in the booth, Dubs.
We can. I don't believe they have called a timeout there.
Oh, you're right.
I'm just talking about timeouts. I mean, they're taking their time as if they've taken a timeout, but I don't think they've necessarily done the old T signal.
No, they're just making use of the time they've got available.
Yes, and with no score advisors here, there is no whistle to say that the offense is ready and the defense is ready.
Yeah, Beach Ultimate, you very rarely see the game advisors. It's only at WUFDF Championship events. So they weren't, for example, at the World Beach Ultimate Club Championships in Portimao last year, which is also the venue. I've lost my train of thought.
The venue for the World Beach Ultimate Championships
is Portimao.
Portimao.
That's what I was going to say, thank you.
It's okay.
Just kicking my brain into gear this morning.
Hey, Benji, it's early out here on the sand.
I mean,
Just be glad you're not running around.
it's early out here, whatever the surface is, for me anyway.
Ooh, great defensive pressure.
Foul called.
I can hear a crying baby, which is not what we want with these slight beer headaches.
Not quite, no.
Lovely low throw, double bid required. Really nice. Just too fast out the back. A little bit of a misexecution there.
You've got such a fine margin for error on that one that you want to maybe get a bit more edge on it, but then you need to try and find the right zip to curl it around the defender if you do that. And, yeah, ran out of room in the back of the end zone. What a grab, a complete splash play there from Daniele Emersi, the Italian stallion. He's been based in Bern for a while now, and that maybe is a Kickstarter that last minute needed.
Yeah, much needed. I see them now potentially. A little bit of a hand signal miscommunication across the board here. I thought I saw a timeout being called. It's not a timeout being called. Maybe a little bit of a miscommunication on both sides. But it is 9-6. How long's left, Benji?
About 3.5 minutes.
3.5 minutes. A lot can happen in 3.5 minutes. Can they get 3 breaks on the bounce in 3.5 minutes? Not sure. They could probably definitely get a break.
Yes, that's absolutely not out of the question.
And then get within that 2-point margin and give them an opportunity to kind of keep driving forward.
Yeah, force La Rojita to close it out. Although, as you mentioned, they do have a universe point win already this weekend, the Spaniards.
Another bricked pool this morning. Being walked 1/3 up the pitch, which is, honestly, I really despise getting a brick pull on beach. It's a fairly large area, and the margin of error, I feel like, is completely up to you. And so hopefully, as the tournament goes on, we see people being able to reel in their pools and get them in the field. But La Rojita, a great kind of rising grab from the sand there. Now they're stuck. This is probably one of the highest stall counts we've seen. What a throw, and just able to run it in. Even their kind of bailout shots are good.
Yeah, it's important to get a clean hold as well, because not only does it stop last minute from getting ahead of steam, yes, you extend that advantage. So if the hootie goes on very soon, then, you know, it is essentially game over. And yeah, just, you got broken, doesn't matter, go out there, still get a plan up, execute the plan, perfect.
Yeah, really good showing.
Exactly what you wanted to draw up as an offensive coach. Here is the plan. Can we execute the plan? Yes, we can. Goal.
And then out on defense straight away. La Rojita do definitely take their time on the line, kind of spending more than you would like, kind of picking the line and deciding where they want them to go. But the line has been chosen, all 6 of them, as we see the coach beckoning a player off to say, oh, that's too many, sorry.
Yeah, miscommunication about the gender ratio, maybe?
Potentially, or I think it potentially was just a complete miscommunication on how many players were on the field.
It is 5-a-side.
I would love to see 7-a-side beach, though.
Well, on like a full beach, on a full outdoor size surface, or on the mini beach surface.
Full outdoor size.
It'd be interesting, wouldn't it? So with the time is over jingle just going, I think this does guarantee the win for...
Absolutely. We've been running a little bit ahead of schedule here at CFC. This morning we were not quite ready to roll, and 2 minutes before it started we had the time is running call. So they're obviously trying to squeeze these games in nice and quickly. But last minute, hoping to have a last minute goal just over the head of all the La Rojita players. Can last minute slot it in and end their loss with a win, i.e. a goal? Looking a little bit static, goes down the line, can't get there. I like that look, though, of kind of engaging the handler backwards and throwing them forward, but didn't quite play dividends. La Rojita then, a hand block, but the conversation is being had as to whether it was a block or whether it was a strip. I see the discussion being had. From my perspective, I can't really make any comment. I didn't see it. Both players had their back to me. Uncontested there. So La Rojita staying with the disc. The teams for our next game have started to warm up. So we've got plenty of Frisbee here coming to you on the beautiful sands of this CFC tournament. Oh, turnover stands. My apologies. Last minute with an opportunity to end this game with a goal. They're right on the front of their end zone line. You can see them setting up in a little bit of an isolation vert stack. Players in the end zone looking for cuts and options. Can they find one? They can't. Stall count rising. Pops one in. That's a goal for last minute, but that is the game. The game, I believe, is over. I'm not sure if the players on the field necessarily know that. And that is game. And you see what the player confirming to everyone on the field. That's 10-7 here in this first round of Swiss draw at CFC. La ROJITA taking the win and doing so fairly convincingly. Last minute, though, not to be discredited, they did their best and worked their hardest. We've got plenty more Frisbee coming your way this morning and all day today and all day tomorrow. We're still in Swiss draw for the next 2 games and then we go into bracket play. We're going to leave you here and we'll be back with you very, very shortly for our next game. But for Benji Rees, I've been Amelia Durbin and we will see you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Merci beaucoup.
Yeah, ultimate.
ULTI.TV.